Everyone, it's Jack and Ross here on Tuesday morning with some lovely wrestling news. Ross, we've got quite a packed lineup of things today, actually. Quite a lot of news last night.
Well, get on with it then.
All right, then here's the headlines. First of all, a COVID outbreak at NXT has forced matches to be pulled from this week's upcoming show. Next up, an injured superstar made their return to this week's Monday Night Raw. And finally, WWE look to be moving the location of the Thunderdome once again. So, first and foremost, we do have to talk about news of potentially another COVID outbreak in NXT. First and foremost, before we get into the details, obviously we hope that everybody is okay and that everybody recovers well. We don't have specific names of who is who's possibly tested positive or who has been exposed to people testing positive, but it will apparently have an effect on this week's show, according to Fightful Select. They say that Wednesday night's NXT has been compromised and that planned matches may have to be pulled. Now, before this news, the planned matches for this week's show were Dexter Lumis versus Austin Theory, Leon Ruff versus Isaiah Swerve Scott, Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher versus Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner, and the debut of LA Knight. I believe he was facing Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed, yeah.
Yeah, but apparently, according again to Fightful, Leon Ruff versus Isaiah Scott and Thatcher and Ciampa versus Imperium are the matches at risk of being pulled. It continues, Ross, for NXT, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I obviously don't know what to say about this. It's just nice to see that sort of they're taking it as seriously as they maybe should have done since the start. It's like you've got people like this time last year, like Roman Reigns pulling out of WrestleMania and stuff like that because of the surroundings he was having to be in when he was turning up to work. And it's nice to see the WWE are just taking a no bollocks stance to this entire situation, which is how it should be.
I think that's true as well. And hopefully, once this is out of the way, they can carry on. I mean, we have heard recently as well about Vince McMahon coming down hard on people pictured without masks and stuff like that. And as
Do you reckon that's why Braun Strowman got covered in guns last night?
Why?
Do you reckon that's why?
What for?
Because I follow him on Instagram and he travels all over the place, Braun Strowman.
Oh, like as an on-screen punishment to make him look silly. Yeah, I mean, it's wrestling, so yeah, probably, potentially. But that's not an official report, we're just speculating there, but it does sound fairly likely. Also, in NXT news as well, according to PW Insider, we've got a bit of an update on NXT possibly moving to Tuesday nights. This has been rumoured for a while. PW Insider seem to have got some further details, reporting that several WWE sources have confirmed that the first NXT episode coming out of WrestleMania 37 is scheduled to be held and broadcast on Tuesday, the 13th of April. So yeah, it looks like, Ross, the Wednesday Night Wars, they're over. That's it.
Good news here on Tuesday morning, Jack, because there were reports surfacing a little while ago, wasn't it, that apparently the move to Tuesday was going to get called off. But honestly, it is a little bit of a humiliating moment if you care about that sort of thing for Triple H et al. And you've lost the Wednesday Night Wars, you've had to move nights and all that malarkey. But then you see reports of the hockey getting moved nights or whatever, so that impacts NXT as well. But I think it's just the positives way outweigh the negatives here. So the quicker they get to Tuesdays, the better as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, this all started after it stemmed from reports from the Mcmahon podcast and has since grown, and now PW Insider have kind of taken the next step with the story. And at the time, WWE did not respond to these reports and still haven't, but apparently the production calendar for WrestleMania week currently does also list the 13th of April as the taping date for that episode of NXT. If it does move permanently to Tuesday, that would obviously put them in a new war against Impact Wrestling, but PW Insider are suggesting that Impact could then move to Thursday nights as a response to that. It's like the managerial merry-go-round in the Premier League. Everyone's changing places.
That's an interesting comparison you're making there. Who would NXT be? Sort of the younger one? Sort of like, oh God. Because you've got like Roy Hodgson, you've got Sam Allardyce, you've got Alan Pardew.
What was the Bournemouth manager called until very
Eddie
recently?
Howe.
Eddie Howe, that's NXT. NXT's Eddie Howe. Yeah.
He is yellow.
He is. Now that does mean that if this is the case, that would mean there are 9 straight days of original programming from WWE around WrestleMania time. We're going to be absolutely buzzing.
I can't wait, because Adam was just telling me before he's got a batch coming in from Colombia of hard drugs for the entire company to use to get us in through that week. It's going to be a fun week for all concerned. Check out all of the content. I think we're finalising our schedule this week, aren't we, Jack, for that entire week? Both in terms of the YouTube channel and Cultaholic.com, where there'll be lots of words written as well. So it's going to be fun. It's what we're involved in this game for, isn't it, Jack? Come on.
It is. Moving now from NXT to the main roster, because on last night's Raw, well, several things happened, but the first one we're going to talk about is the return of Asuka, who, of course, was taking time off from her injury after she got accidentally, but booted hard in the head by Shayna Baszler. She was reportedly concussed, and with concussions, it's very unpredictable how long it's going to take someone to return, but thankfully, she looks to be, well, back and ready to go. She got revenge on Shayna, beating her in really quite straightforward fashion on Raw. It wasn't a decisive finish. She rolled out of a Kirifuda clutch and pinned her, but she
Not
she
again, Shayna.
I know, every time. But she got a lot of offense in at Asuka, and a lot of people have been speculating that this might be a return to the kind of hard-edged NXT-style Asuka as we head towards WrestleMania. Thoughts on that, Ross?
I think we're going to Asuka getting fed to Charlotte at WrestleMania, I think, aren't we? So it doesn't really matter what sort of Asuka comes back, because she's going to lose on the grandest stage of them all to Charlotte Flair. I guess it's good to see that bit of variety. I guess it's just try to look at positives for this. She's got obviously a very real reason to be upset with Shayna Baszler having been hoofed in the face. So NXT Asuka, but that's unfair. I was about to say NXT Asuka is better than Raw Asuka, but Raw Asuka this time last year was carrying Raw, so she's just good, isn't she? Full stop, no matter what she's doing. Yeah,
she is, and I mean, I hope that she gets something of substance to get her teeth into on the way to WrestleMania. But you're right, it does seem like if she is being built up, it's just so that Charlotte looks even more class when she beats her at WrestleMania. Before WrestleMania, we do have Fastlane, and the card is taking shape for Fastlane. 3 matches were added to the card last night on Raw. Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, we kind of saw that one coming anyway. That was just kind of officially sealed. Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman. I was surprised, because that seemed to me like WrestleMania. Do you think it'll be a non-finish or something?
Do people want to see that match twice? I've got no idea. I mean, I'm struggling to get my my proverbial pecker up jack, so to speak, to see it once. Never mind twice in 2 weeks. So maybe they'll get some sort of definitive finish. But then, if there is a definitive finish, how does one of those go on to WrestleMania like you would expect they would? I don't understand. I
can see shenanigans incoming for that one. And perhaps the most intriguing one, a rare intergender match in WWE, although I don't think it's going to resemble a traditional wrestling match at all, really. Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton, because on Raw, Alexa invited Orton to kick her out of his life, and Orton seems to have accepted the offer for this Sunday. What on earth is going to happen?
Alexa Bliss is the overwhelming favourite for me, Jack. I'm not even joking. She can make Randy Orton cough up blackjacks whenever she wants. So
what's going on there?
That was my Amazon device speaking to me because I said that word.
Oh, Ms. Bliss.
Bliss. The Bliss one. The Blissful. Yeah, she can just do anything she wants to Randy Orton, because obviously the essence of the Fiend is both inside Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton. Therefore, she wants to. She can call on the Fiend to do some dastardly things to the innards of Randy Orton. One thing I hope, though, Jack, is that we don't see the Fiend. Whatever this new Fiend is going to look like, I hope that is saved until WrestleMania, because that reveal is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see what sort of horrible, burned sort of thing he is.
Yeah, that would look good. I just hope he doesn't come back looking the same, but surely they wouldn't do that. Other matches announced for that show include, of course, the IC Championship match between Big E and the new and improved Apollo Crews, and also the Women's Tag Team Championship match between Jackson Baszler and Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, who are, of course, facing each other at WrestleMania, and Reginald will doubtless be involved. Is that what you were going to say?
What a mess they've made of that build, eh? Why does Sasha Banks, who was fantastic, and Bianca Belair, who is also fantastic, need to have Reginald being the centre plot point and the Women's Tag Team titles? What an absolute mess-alicious.
They could have really had just a standard feud, because they're both good enough to make it really work. And also the Universal Champion Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, with either Jey Uso or Edge as special guest enforcer. Wow. And then matches were announced for WrestleMania as well. So I'll just read those off as well. It was announced on Raw last night that Bobby Lashley will defend his WWE title against Drew McIntyre, which again was one that we pretty much saw coming. And also one that I didn't actually see coming, because the New Day won the tag titles on last night's Raw, and it was revealed that AJ Styles and Omos will challenge them, with AJ saying he's never won tag gold in his WWE career and wants to change that. And this will also be Omos' first televised match in WWE.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see Omos just throw Kofi Kingston over the pirate ship and far away.
Yeah.
You would expect Omos to maybe get the win there, wouldn't you? Against established people like the New Day, build a new stuff. I guess we're saying that this time last year, weren't we? About Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler. So I've just talked complete nonsense there, Jack, to be honest with you.
No, I agree. I think as it stands at the minute, you can't be having Omos lose his first match, surely. You never know.
You can, can't you?
You can. Speaking of WrestleMania, there was a weird situation with the tickets. Now, I don't really understand this, Ross. I'm hoping you do a little bit more, but I don't know if anybody really does. 1 week after announcing the on-sale date for WrestleMania 37, WWE then confirmed on Raw that date is being moved, but they didn't say when, and they didn't say why. Tom Phillips just said that the plans for Mania were still being finalized, and we should expect a new on-sale date within the next week. What's this about?
Pure speculation on my part. Just maybe they've had some sort of hiccup with the amount of people that can get inside the stadium, because there was that report last week saying that they wanted 45,000 for each night, which I think is absolutely crazy. If I was in Florida and looking to go to WrestleMania and I saw 45,000, I'd be put off instantly. I think that's way too many too soon, isn't it? Surely. So
It's
maybe
a big
they've had
number.
some sort of, maybe someone like in a position of power in government or something like that, maybe has seen that number and said, hey, steady on there, lads. Take a couple of tens of thousands off. I've got no idea, to be honest with you, Jack, but that could be it.
That does sound plausible, but we'll have to wait and see what the actual reason is. And also, there's some Thunderdome updates. WWE, of course, started the Thunderdome in Orlando in the Amway Center. Then they moved to Tampa, but also in Florida for Tropicana Field. And it looks like they're going to have to move from there as well pretty soon, because Tropicana Field is the home of the Tampa Bay Rays, the baseball team, and the baseball season is about to start. So they are hosting their home opener on April the 9th, and WWE is going to have to find a new venue for those events. According to a report from John Albert of Spectrum Sports 360, WWE is expected to move to the Yuengling Center, easy for me to say, in Tampa still, on the campus of the University of South Florida, and it's a venue that WWE fans of a certain age will be familiar with, because it was home to the 1995 Royal Rumble when it was still called the USF Sun Dome. So they're staying in Tampa, I suppose. That's pretty good.
I don't know what to say to you, Jack. It's just going to look the same, isn't it? We like the Thunderdome. It's going to have a new home. It's going to look the same. Good for them.
I imagine it is. Maybe it'll look a little bit smaller, although Sun Dome sounds pretty large. But thinking of the 95 Rumble, I don't know. They do, I mean, it probably will be made up to look identical, won't it, to the last Thunderdome. It's not clear, apparently, when this move is going to take place or how long the new residency will last. And it's also not known if WWE would maintain its Thunderdome setup, but I would put money on them keeping it as similar as they possibly can. John Albert also said that multiple people said travel is booked through Tampa going forward for the immediate future. If this does go ahead, it'll be the third Thunderdome location, and it's not the only Thunderdome update today, because also, I know, PW Insider have said that the Thunderdome will play host to the 2021 Hall of Fame ceremony on April 6th. And the plan is to have as many of the inductees there as possible live on stage, as well as some roster members and invited guests. I'm not quite certain what that means, whether that's friends and family, that sort of thing. But it sounds like fans will not be in attendance. They're just going to be watching via the Thunderdome.
It's going to be interesting to see how long that show is, with two classes going in on the same night, because obviously we've watched it in years gone by where one class has went on for 5 hours, let's say, at a maximum. So does that mean a 10-hour Hall of Fame ceremony?
I mean,
I hope so.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I love a Hall of Fame ceremony, me. Saying that people come up and say the same thing over and over again, and then Hillbilly Jim just taking the entire spotlight from everybody.
I think I was talking about this with Tom on a previous news video where we were talking about how maybe the show will be streamlined. There might be some formatting wizardry from WWE's, video team, who are very, very good, always. They've been one of the constant best parts of WWE. So maybe it'll go longer, or maybe they'll find a way to trim it down. I suppose they've got to have to. They can't have a double length Hall of Fame, surely. But we'll keep everybody posted on any updates to do with that. And I think that's about it. Have you got anything to add?
That was a packed news video, Jack. We've covered a lot in 15 minutes.
I feel like I've really talked over you a lot in this one. I'm sorry. I feel like I've been a ball hog.
That's completely fine. The less work I have to do, the better, quite frankly.
Fair enough. Right. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. We've been Jack and Ross from Cultaholic, and we'll see you very soon.